Happy day students. Welcome to SAN Academy Pallikarnai. This is Class 8 History, Chapter 5, When People Rebel, 1857 and After. Topics to be covered today. Nawabs lost their power of authority, the resent of the peasants and sepoys, responses to reforms, transformation of mutiny to rebellion from Meerut to Delhi, and the after effect of the rebellion. Nawabs lose their power. The power of authority of Indian kings started deteriorating due to the policies of Britishers such as appointing of residents, doctrine of lapse, etc. The policies of the East India Company had an intensive effect on different people. Kings, queens, peasants, landlords, tribals, soldiers were all affected in different ways. Since the mid 18th century, Nawabs and Rajas had gradually lost their authority and honor. Residents had been stationed in many courts. The freedom of the rulers reduced, their armed forces disbanded, and their revenues and territories were taken away by the Britishers. Many ruling families tried to negotiate with the company to protect their interest. For example, Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi wanted the company to recognize her adopted son as the heir to the kingdom after the death of her husband. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II, pleaded that he be given his father's pension when the latter died. However, the company denied all the pleas. In 1801, a subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh, and in 1856 it was taken over. Governor General Dalhousie declared that the territory was being misgoverned and British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. In 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of the Red Fort and given another place in Delhi to reside in. In 1856, Governor General Canning decided that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king, and after his death, none of his descendants would be recognized as kings, but they would just be called princes. The peasants and sepoys. Peasants were burdened with heavy taxes. Lands were taken away from them due to non-payment of tax. Sepoys were unhappy with their salary and allowance. Sepoys were forced to follow rules against their religious beliefs. In the countryside, peasants and zemindars resented the high taxes and the rigid methods of revenue collection. The Indian sepoys in the employ of the company also had reasons for discontent. Sepoys also reacted to what was happening in the countryside. So, many of them were peasants actually, and they had families living in the villages. So, the anger of the peasants quickly spread among the sepoys too. Responses to reforms. The British believed that Indian society had to be reformed. So, laws were passed to stop the practice of sati and to encourage the remarriage of widows. After 1830, the company allowed Christian missionaries to function freely in its domain and even own land and property. In 1850, a new law was passed to make conversion to Christianity easier. This law allowed an Indian who had converted to Christianity to inherit the property of his ancestors. Many Indians began to feel that the British were destroying their religion their social customs, and their traditional way of life.